Hey everyone, welcome to the final week of Insider Movies, Halloween edition, October, and what a week it is. So two of my favorite movies of all time, and one of my favorite movies of all time. She's been asking me for about 2 years now, every single day, and I think I'm going to have to finally watch it this year. So, and you guys won't believe that I haven't seen it yet. So anyway, for those of you who are new to this series, you may or may not know, but I am a new channel, so please subscribe and support my channel and give it a thumbs up if you like this series. So if you do not know this series, this is a series about learning about the movies that everyone thinks that you know, but you don't know. So the ones that all of the TV personalities reference to, like the things on HBO and the TV hosts and the late night hosts, and the movie critics and all the things that they reference and pop culture references and the things on magazine covers. There are a lot of movies that they reference, and even movies reference. They make references to other movies in the past that are no longer necessarily shown or even recommended, because all we have is like Netflix and Amazon TV, and they really filter what comes through to you. So even if you want to see them, that doesn't mean they're going to let you see them. So they really push their own studio films at this point. When you go on there, even though I'm always going to these movies, I'm always going back in time for my movies, they never recommend those movies to me ever. They are always recommending their two-day movies to me. So it is very, very hard for me to dig. So that's why I'm doing this series, to help you find the movies that everyone thinks that you know, that you don't know. I learned the hard way that a lot of people don't know movies that everyone thinks that you do. And so I started this series through my contacts, and I talk with my contacts all the time in various industries just through my work and my job in my past life, because I'm now disabled and I stay at home. And so now I can do this series for you and help you out. So I am dressed up because it's Halloween, and I was just getting dramatic because I was like, hey, I can go ahead and be like more like Halloween-y and get a bit more costumey, and let's go for it. So I was excited about the headpiece, and then I put on my lipstick and everything, and I was like, I kind of look more ballerina. And I was like, okay, I'll be Black Swan. And actually, that's kind of scary, right? Black Swan is kind of scary. All right, that goes Halloween. And then I got to put on these earrings. And you guys don't know. Remember how I said in the very first week, I was like, I have so much jewelry, or maybe it was the second week. I'll put up the link up here to the one it is. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to wear more jewelry for you guys, like for this series. And then I was like, oh, do I get to wear these earrings? Like, do I finally get to? You guys have no idea how long I have been trying to wear these earrings. Do you know, like, I collect jewelry, and from everywhere. I am like the young Iris Apfel. Like, I am the young Iris Apfel. Like, if you've seen any of my series of videos, you know, like, I collect everything from like the 99-cent store to like Neiman Marcus, and I'll just go everywhere and shop in little things and stuff like that. I do bargain hunting and all that sort of thing. But I don't care as long as it's beautiful. Like, I am like, if it's beautiful, I buy it. Like, I mean, I can't do that anymore, but I did in my heyday. That's what I did. I collected things, and now I use it as art. Like, as you can see, I decorate my house with it. When we got our new house, I was disabled, and I was like, well, I can't buy art for the house, so I used my jewelry to decorate my own home, and then, yay, I had a backdrop for my YouTube channel, so yay. Anyway, but I have been just looking for a way to wear these earrings, and then I finally pulled this out. I keep this headpiece that I got at Saks Fifth, and oh my God, I just love this piece, and I have to keep it in this I built a box to keep it safe, and oh my God, like, I love this piece. And I haven't worn it in years. I've worn it only once for a really special occasion, for my just really special occasion. And then I was like, I think, because I was like, what's going to go with this? And okay, I'm getting off of movies, but I'm just like, I'm done. I'm happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You may not be, but I'm so happy. Let's do it, people. Let's do it. All right, week 4. So as I said, we're doing 3 movies instead of 2 movies. Normally this series does 2 movies every single Friday. of movies that you need to know to watch over the weekend, right? So now that we're around Halloween time, so I am doing 3 movies because some people can't handle horror or scary movies. And so I'm doing a family movie, I'm doing a suspense movie, and I'm doing a horror / scary movie. So it is the 4th week. So the family movie is best Halloween family movie of all time. Hands down, the best. There is no greater. No greater. So it's Charlie Brown's The Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown's The Great Pumpkin. And you will find, if you look at your TV listings, it's still played on TV. Channels still play it every single year. Just like Jack Frost, they play it every single Christmas. And I know people don't watch TV anymore, but that's why you have to watch it, because everyone thinks you know it. You need to know it. Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin. Not that it's long or anything, but it's available on Amazon. We watched it last year. My group watched it last year. And if you don't know about our group, you can go ahead and watch, I believe it's Movie Friday 5. I'll leave up the link up here. And it talks all about our group and how we were formed and all of that jazz and everything like that. So, but we watched it last year, and like so it's really good. And like I said, none of us were under a teenage. None of us some of us had kids and they went home and showed it to their kids, but you have to know it. Like there's a reason I showed it to adults in the industry. Like, gotta know it, guys. Gotta know it. You need to know all the Charlie Brown stuff. We even watched the Charlie Brown Christmas special that year. So, now on to Suspense. I'm sorry, I really love this one. I really love this one. And I don't know if it qualifies as suspense. I didn't know where to put it. It's Dracula. And not the black and white Dracula. It is Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I was a lit major, so I already loved Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like that, I already loved it. The book is written by the original book about Dracula that started it all. The whole thing was a book, Dracula. If you read it, really unusual book. It's actually written not in chapters. It's actually written as articles, like just releases, like articles or journals and writings. It's a fascinating little read. It's just magnificent. It's a magnificent read. It's just an incredible piece of literature. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend that book. I really do. It was one of my most enjoyable things that I read while in college. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't actually assigned. I read it on my own and I really loved it. And I read it in anticipation for this movie, and I'm glad that I did. It really added to the film. So now one of my favorite actors of all time is in this film, and that's Gary Oldman. And it was during he had a huge arc of by the way, Gary Oldman is the most earning actor in Hollywood of all time. He has made more money in Hollywood than any other actor in all time. And this really shows the gender wage gap. It shows the gender wage gap. If you look, because you're like, what the heck? He hasn't acted in that many films. Like, what is it? No, it's because of his roles in the Batman films. Like, yeah, he did The Fifth Element, but was he Bruce Willis? No. He wasn't the main character, and yes, you need to see The Fifth Element. That is one of the movies. Thank you very much. So, huge movie. Got to see it. And I loved him in it. Not that he doesn't deserve huge accolades, but he was not the main character in that movie. There were other characters that played just as big a part. Like, he was the bad guy on the side. Like, he doesn't even show up for a good part of the movie. And then that's one of the reasons he's one of the highest, he is the highest paid actor of all time. And then Batman. How often is he in Batman? Yes, he's in all of the movies, but how many lines does he have? He's barely in it. And then you have Amy Adams and Jennifer Lawrence earning for their roles. And
me for flirting with somebody after you've been fucking my husband for how many years?
You don't have any fucking clue what's going on.
I got a ring on my finger. We have a child together.
He doesn't love you, Rosalind. He loves me, and you know it, and I know it, and he knows it. And it might be done now, but it was beautiful, and it was real. And we loved each other.
Shut up.
You scare him, and you manipulate him, and you use your son.
Well, he must like it on some level. He must want it because he keeps coming back for it. It's like that perfume that you love that you can't stop smelling even when there's something sour in it. You can't get enough of it. But guess what? He's never going to leave me. He's always going to want me. And I will make you so sorry, Edith. I will make you so sorry for what you've done to my family. Mark my words.
That's fucked up. I would never say anything that fucked up to anybody, but you do because you're gross inside. You're so fucked up and gross.
Oh, I'm gross inside? Maybe you're gross inside with robbing people and all that shit that you do. Maybe we're both gross inside. That's what Irving loves about us. At least he's consistent. You know, sometimes in life, all you have are fucked up, poisonous choices.
How can you stop the rain from falling down? How can you stop the sun from shining? What makes the world go round? I can still feel the breeze that rustles through the trees.
They were nominated for those. Both of them were nominated. Amy was the main, she was a main character, and she got for that movie. And she was already like, I have tried to watch all of Amy's movie. I have done my frickin' best to watch all of Amy's movies. And I can't do it. I can't watch that girl's. I have tried to watch that girl's movies, and I can't do it. Do you know how many movies she has? She has so many freaking movies. So many movies. And she's young. She has 1 million movies. And they're main roles. She doesn't play side roles. And the one time she played a side role was in that movie Catch Me When You Can, and she was the standout role. She just like illuminated the screen. I think it's one of the best parts she ever played. And Enchanted, I remember that was the first time I ever saw her. Oh, I'm getting off. So anyway, so I really want you to think about that. Like, but anyway, but he is just brilliant. I mean, he's just brilliant in Dracula. He does play Dracula. He doesn't look like Gary Oldman. I should tell you that he's Gary Oldman, because he doesn't look like he looks like Dracula. And Winona Ryder's in it, and she looks, I mean, the makeup was done so well on it. It's when Hollywood was when they had makeup artists, when they weren't hiring makeup artists for free or based on budget or anything like that. A lot of what's going on in Hollywood today, and the reason why I say things stink and stuff like that, is because old Hollywood, there was this thing, the older generations, they didn't have attitude unless you had skill. Like, that's the thing with old Hollywood today, is that when young people come in, they've got attitude. And the problem is that old Hollywood thinks, oh, you have skill. Like, you wouldn't have attitude like that if you didn't have skill. And they've been making the mistake of hiring people over skilled people, because a lot of skilled people, there's a whole generation of skilled people who had psychological and sexual abuse. And they came in because all the absentee fathers and things like that. And so they didn't have confidence. They didn't have attitude. And so they got steamrolled, right? And so they didn't look at the basis of the work that's happening in the fashion industry. And there's an amazing, in Vestoj magazine, there's an amazing article about that. And I'll try and link it below the journal about that. So anyway, but that's really having a turnaround. That it's affected Amazon, it's affected Facebook, it's affected a number of major companies where they've been hiring people who have attitude, but they don't actually have the knowledge. They don't actually have the skill to back it up. And when you see releases of a new product or an update to a product, and you're like, it just completely broke the product. Every time it's because someone back there gave an amazing pitch and said, I know it all, and had narcissistic confidence that said, you're stupid if you go any other way. This is like YouTube editor. Like, I guarantee you that decision was made because there was some attitude person who said, it needs to go. It's in the past. It's in the past. And I'm telling you, this is the way of the future. And there were older higher ups that were like, oh, well, if they're that confident about it, then of course, let's let it go. And then they were like, oh, and they saw the blowback and that person got chopped. But unfortunately, like, I know that from the things that I've heard, I know that the ship is finally turning, but I'm really sad that it's so late in the game. So I'm really hoping that Hollywood will turn around as well. I'm really hoping that will turn around. I know that they're getting sick of it. I know they're stopping, like they're really stopping, but I'm wondering if it's too late for the studios, because now we've got Netflix coming in there and Amazon Studios coming in there. But the great thing is that we have these amazing books, like books and books and books and categories of amazing movies that we can choose from to watch in the meantime. So I know that how I got introduced to a lot of these movies, like I said, my parents, in my previous video, my parents weren't huge Hollywood movie buffs at all. Like, that is not how I learned about the movies. This is how I learned about the movies. Like, I was attracted to it, obviously. Like I said, when I was like a little girl, I was like picking up on stuff. I must have been in my genes. But the way I picked up movies that I needed to know, the way I filled in gaps, was there was this downturn in Hollywood. There was this real downturn in the quality of movies. Right around 2000, like, oh my God, right around the Moulin Rouge era, which Moulin Rouge was absolutely phenomenal. And, but this Titanic, right around then, a lot of the movies coming out around that time, we had just come through the 90s, where if you watch the Academy Award at the Academy Awards during the 90s and you watch who was nominated, you're just like, Howard Zentler, like every nominee, you're like, that movie went up against that movie, went up against that movie, went up against. You're like, every one of those movies should have won Best Picture. Like, every year in the 90s, like, every one of those movies deserved Best Picture, and they would trounce any movie that came out today. Like, just trounce. Like, maybe Spotlight. Maybe came up too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things, just phenomenal. Like Schindler's List and just these amazing movies, right? And so what happened is, all of a sudden, like, year 2000 hit, like the internet had finally made an influence. It had been out for, 5 to 10 years, and it started in LA, right? So there was this huge, like, in California, I should say. And there was just this, like, push, like, just sudden break, and the movies felt it, and there was this jolt in the movies that came out, and the critics were saying it, like, they're still old school critics, and the critics were like, what the hell's coming out of Hollywood? Like, what is all this garbage? Like, this is just junk, and I was starving. I was like, I need good movies. I need it, I'm dying, I am dying for good movies. And thankfully, the turn of the century happened from 1999 to 2000, and all of the top 100s for the last 100 years came out. And I'll never forget, because there was a member of the family that did article clippings, always did clippings and left out clippings everywhere, all over the place. And one of the clippings was, it was this huge spread. Our local newspaper did a huge spread right in the middle of the entertainment section, and it was like both sides. And they just did a spread to spread, boom, boom, American Film Institute, the AFI. Learn that term. If you don't know it, you need to know the AFI Top 100. And now the AFI has Top 100 sci-fi films, Top 100 this. They didn't have any of that before. The reason they have them all now is because this list did so well. For the first time ever, they asked all the movie critics to get in, and they prepared for the turn of the century by doing this big list. It was a big deal. And back then it was analog. They had to do a written submission. It was not done by internet. It was a big freaking deal. And they had all these critics, and it was a list that meant something. And they had them turn it in, and they published the top 100 films of all time ranked by all of these critics. And I took out that list, and I just started going through, and I just would go to the rental store, and I just started crossing off one by one, Like, not from the top down, but I would just see what the store had. And if they had something on the list, I'd get it. Like, I'd read the box and see if I want it, and I'd get it. And it was hard finding a lot of those films, but if the store had it, and I found out about The Sting, and I found out about Annie Hall, and I found out about Citizen Kane, I found out about Casablanca, which I'd heard about Casablanca. But what was great, it was like Citizen Kane had, the movie had this little entire thing, which is gone now, but it had this whole synopsis on why Citizen Kane was important. If you just watch it, and I can pass the information on to you now. Nowadays, I haven't found it anywhere, not on Wikipedia, not anywhere on the internet. Is there information? You probably can only find out about it in a film school nowadays as to why Citizen Kane is the #1 movie. Still holds the place of all time. No one can tell you that, except it was. It was in that little VHS tape. It had it, and that is why it's such a shame that we lost film to digital, because we just lost it. It is sad, because we had it wasn't the older generation that was passing on because they didn't know digital. It was the younger generation making the decisions, and they just didn't know, and it's unfortunate, and we just lost a lot. It's not that digital was bad, it's just that we lost a lot of history, if that makes sense. All right, so the final one, dun 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 dun, if you did not already guess it, I feel like you should have guessed it already, because I have been drilled on this one. If I've been drilled about seeing this one, and I'm just like, is Halloween. 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 And then you can see Halloween H2O, which was very good. And all the Halloween movies that came after it. Halloween. Halloween. Yes. The ultimate, I guess, from what I've heard, because, you know, sure as hell, if you've been watching the other three, I sure as heck haven't seen it. I don't do the scary movies. I swear I've seen every single classic. If you're new to this series, you're like, who the hell is this woman? She hasn't seen the scary movies, these movies she's talking about. And I'm just kind of like, please watch my other, I swear I know a hell of a lot. You have to watch my other movies. Watch my other Insider movies. Like, watch Insider Movie 3. Here, I'll put up the link for Insider Movie 3. So I just, or like, you know, just watch. I have the links below. I'll put them down there. So anyway, I hope you guys have been enjoying this series. I really, really do. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Again, please subscribe. I am a new YouTuber, and I am disabled. I am just doing this to get on my feet and get out there again. It really does help. And seeing your thumbs up and seeing your subscriptions, it helps me get out of bed in the day. I can't lie. I've been noticing that. Like, somebody said on a program lately that seeing those thumbs up and like, they give you an endorphin bump, and that, a dopamine bump. And you know what? That's nice to get that instead of something manufactured by a drug company. And I like that. Oh God, I feel like I'm asking you for drugs now. All right, scratch that, reverse it. Ah, Willy Wonka. Ha ha ha. Oh wait, did we see that together yet? We will. We will see Willy Wonka the Chocolate, not the one with Johnny Depp. No. Johnny Depp, stick with the Pirates of the Caribbean, which we saw, which if you haven't seen, you need to go see. You all need to, if you're new, you need to watch all these movies. Just get together for Halloween and just watch all these movies back to back. Just do it, just all the movies. And then afterwards, when you go to sleep, watch the videos of my kittens. 12-minute video of my little kittens. I could have written that script better, could I? And I just, when I was setting up for this one, here, I'll put the link to the 12-minute kitten video right here. But I could not have written it better. I could not have written that one better. But then when I went to film the first video for this series, the cats got all set up for the setup. Like, they got all, the video might be out on that already, actually. I don't know. So, but I just thought that was amazing. So if that's here, I'll put the link up below, up there. And when it comes out, I'll put the link up here too. So anyway, you guys, I love you. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to wear these earrings. Happy Halloween. Bye.
At least he's consistent. You know, sometimes in life, all you have are fucked up, poisonous choices.
How can you stop the rain from falling down?